Hello and welcome back to Coding with Kenny G. So this is the beginner series and now we are going to go into scripting. Scripting or programming in C#, and we're going to learn to create a class. And the aim of the next few episodes is to build an actual game object. We're gonna build like a turret, like a gun tower, cannon tower, similar to what you see in turret defense games or similar. So essentially like a little building that can shoot little cannonballs. But in order to create such an object, we need to do quite a bit of stuff, but all of it is very suitable for beginners. So let's get started with the actual programming. So I'm gonna close this down right here. And now this is my special scene where I introduce the videos, because that's also made in Unity, because Unity everything, right? Okay, so I'm gonna make a new scene. So you go to File in the upper left of Unity, click File and then New Scene. You're gonna get a pop-up menu here with all these options. We're gonna select Basic URP. URP means Universal Render Pipeline, and yet again we're not gonna deal with it. So just click the Basic URP button, and there we go. And now we have a completely empty scene. If you see in hierarchy up on the left here, it's called Untitled. The scene is now named Untitled. We're just going to save this scene. So I'm clicking File in the upper left, Save As, and then in the Explorer, I'm gonna select the scenes folder inside the assets folder of Unity for this project, and then I'm gonna write turret scene. Okay, turret scene. That's it. Easy as that. Obviously this scene has absolutely nothing going on, and that's fine, because for the first few episodes here we're gonna focus on scripting. Or programming in C#. I'm going to build out this turret object across multiple episodes. So in the project view down below here in assets, if you don't have a scripts folder yet, select the assets folder root here, right click and select create folder, and then create a scripts folder. Okay. So that's where all our programming scripts are going to live from now on. And we're going to create our very first class ever, class or script. So just follow along and I'll explain all the things that are happening. So inside of the scripts folder, with the scripts folder selected in the project view, I'm gonna right click inside here. So you get the create menu. And then up top here, there's some quick buttons of common actions that we're gonna do. Select the one called Mono Behavior Script. And now it's gonna ask us to name the class. We're gonna call it turret. Turret. Press enter to save. And okay, let's see. Then we're gonna open up by double clicking the script object in the project view, and then it's gonna open up Visual Studio. I'm just gonna close some things here. This is going to look different from you because I have a special little thing in my Unity editor where I create these regions when I create a new script. I'm just going to delete it and I'll show you this stuff later on. You too can also delete everything that is given to you by default. There's going to be a little function called void start, and then there's going to be a function called void update. Essentially, just delete it, so you all things within the opening and closing curly braces. First of all, you're gonna see these curly braces. If you have never programmed before, this might be new to you. Essentially, they are denoting that everything within these, like the opening curly brace and the closing curly brace here, is within this class called turret. So we're using curly braces for code blocks. The way to write them on your keyboard is different from the language of the keyboard you are using. So essentially on my keyboard, I have to press Ctrl-Alt-7 to create an opening curly brace, and then Ctrl-Alt-0 to create a closing curly brace. You might need to Google this for your language, how to create a curly brace with your keyboard, because it's different depending on the keyboard layout of your language. Okay, so just check that. Then, what do we see here? Now that everything is empty, we only have a public class turret with something called mono behavior here, and then a using statement up top here. The using statement stuff we're gonna deal with a little bit later in the series. So just leave that as is for now. That's fine. We're using Unity Engine. Essentially, it means that we gain access to components from the Unity Engine code library. Then it says public class, and then our name of the class that we defined called turret. Then it says a colon, which means in coding language here, inherit from something called mono behavior. These two parts here, the colon and the mono behavior, we're going to deal with later in the series when we learn a little bit about what's called inheritance. But right now, we don't need to go into it just yet. But what is a class? So a class is a container of data and logic. That's essentially what it is. So, you know, we are going to build a cannon turret, right? And a turret has many properties. For example, let's say that a turret has ammunition. So then it would have an ammunition type maybe, and an ammunition count, how many ammunition it has left in its magazine. That would be a property of the class, right? In the next episode, we're going to learn to build out variables. But the first thing that we're going to do, just to kind of get you kickstarted into the programming world, is that we're going to do a very, very beginnery thing that every single programming language ever does, I think, that has the capability to do so. We're going to learn to say hello world in coding. So inside of the curly braces here, so the opening and the closing curly brace, I'm going to write void start with capital S, and then you're going to see that the Visual Studio, I forgot to mention a thing. Okay, complete this first. So void start, and then click enter in order to autocomplete the function, so that you have similar to what I have on the screen here. Before we continue, I want you to turn off a few things. First of all, you have the GitHub Copilot up in the upper right of the Visual Studio IDE, right here. If there's a chat window here, close it. So we're not going to be using these AI assistance stuff for this series. We're going to try to learn things by writing them ourselves. And one more thing that you need to do before we continue, follow my mouse down here in the left side of Visual Studio. There's a little purple button. It looks like a brain with a wrench on it. Click that. There will be something called automatically show code completions on by default. Turn that off so that we're not getting like these crazy code completion suggestions from IntelliSense and AI. It's even disturbing for seasoned developers. So it's easier for us to actually focus on what we're trying to learn here. Okay, back to the start function, right? If you didn't catch what I did, you have to write void start with capital S and then let it autocomplete here so that we have a function called start. The only thing that we're going to write inside of this thing is debug with capital D, debug dot log with capital S. You'll have the IDE help you out with suggesting like the most likely thing that you're trying to achieve here. So debug.log, and then I'm going to write an open parentheses, and then you're going to get the closing parentheses automatically when writing. And inside of those parentheses, I'm going to write quotation marks. When you click the quotation mark button, for me it's shift and the number 2 on the keyboard, you're also going to get the opening and the closing quotation mark. See a pattern here? Very many things in programming, when we do things, have an opening and a closing thing. So an opening and a closing quotation mark. And within that, we're going to write, hello world, I am a turret. There we go. And after the closing parentheses, I'm going to write a semicolon. That is essentially the same as a punctuation mark when writing standard English. We are closing statements in code using a semicolon to say, hey, this statement is finished. Now we can go on to the next one. Okay, so debug.log parentheses, and inside of a parentheses we have a opening and a closing quotation mark, and within those opening and closing quotation marks we write some raw text. This is called hard coding, and we're writing hello world, I am a turret. And I'm also going to teach you how to write a comment in code. We press 2 forward slashes on the keyboard. Then this is a comment. It will be ignored by the compiler. The compiler is essentially the thing that makes our code here into zeros and ones, making it work inside of the computer. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but not in detail. So essentially this is a comment. It will be ignored by the compiler. What we are doing here is that we are printing a text line to the debug console in Unity. It will, oops, I pressed enter without writing the forward slashes to denote a comment. it will display when we press play in Unity. Okay. Cool. So that's a very introductory thing. Let's try it out. So I'm gonna save the script by pressing Ctrl-Shift-S, and then I'm gonna go back to Unity. And now you're gonna get like the little compiler here saying, hey, I'm trying to compile the code that you wrote and check that it's okay. And if it's okay, it won't complain. So I'm gonna press play first. Down here in the project view, I have the console. If the console is not available for you for some reason, I think it should be on by default. You can press the 3 dots here, if you follow my mouse, in like the project view section here. And then you can click add tab, and then there'll be like a console there. I believe it should be, if it's not, right? Let's close this and then add it again. Where is it then? Console. There we go. Yeah. So if you lose the, if you don't have the console, or if you lose it, or any window actually, any tab, scene, hierarchy, inspector, etc., you can find it up the top here in window. And then in general, I'll select console to have it again, and then I can dock the console here. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to see if our code works, and I can tell you right now that it won't, because I'm pressing play, and then nothing happens. There's nothing here. Why? Well, because this guy right here, the turret script, it needs to actually live inside of the game world. It needs to be present in the game world in Unity in order to be able to run. So we're gonna do that. So in the turret scene, in the hierarchy on the left side here, I'm just gonna right now create an empty. And I'm gonna call it hello world. So this is an empty game object. It doesn't have anything at all except a position, a rotation, and a scale in its so-called transform. That's it. This denotes where the thing is living in the game world. But we don't care about that right now. Okay, so with the hello world game object selected in the hierarchy, I'm gonna have on my inspector on the right side, I'm gonna click add component, and then I'm gonna search for turret. Yeah. So turret is the script, the C# script that we just wrote, that lives inside of the scripts folder in the project view. And now it's sort of assigned to the hello world game object. Yeah. So down in the project view, I'm going to select the console, and now I'm going to press play. And then magic happens. We are printing a text line to the console saying, hello world, I am a turret. Yes, success. Now we're gonna go back to the script and we're gonna discuss what actually happened here. So first of all, I'm gonna write a comment above the start function. The start function is called automatically by Unity when the game starts. So when we press play. We'll go more into detail on how this functions, but essentially Unity is going through all the game objects in the game world when we press play. And then it goes like, hey, does this guy have a start function? If so, run the code that is within the start function. Yeah. And what is happening here? So what we are doing is that we're calling another class actually called debug with a function called log, and then we are writing a raw text inside here, inside opening and closing quotation marks, denoting that it is a string. Gonna learn more about that in the next episode. So this is the line of code that was required in order to be able to print text to the console. The console we use to debug things, and it displays warning errors and issues. Okay, so I'd say that is a very simple, quick introduction to a little bit of scripting, just to get your feet going. In the next episode, we'll be discussing setting this turret object here up a little bit more with variables and starting the process of defining this object step by step. You're gonna learn new programming concepts each episode. So subscribe to the series or my channel and like the video. All right, see you in the next one.